Understanding Judaism and Zionism, thanks to Israel Shahak's book, Jewish History, Jewish Religion, The Weight of 3,000 Years, Laws Against Non-Jews, Abuse Following. There is also a series of rules forbidding any expression of praise for Gentiles or for their deeds, except where such praise implies an even greater praise of Jews and things Jewish. This rule is still observed by Orthodox Jews. For example, the writer Agnon, when interviewed on the Israeli radio upon his return from Stockholm, where he received the Nobel Prize for Literature, praised the Swedish Academy, but hastened to add, "I am not forgetting that it is forbidden to praise Gentiles, but here there is a special reason for my praise, that is, that they awarded the prize to a Jew." Similarly, it is forbidden to join any manifestation of popular Gentile rejoicing, except where failing to join in might cause hostility towards Jews, in which case a minimal show of joy is allowed. In addition to the rules mentioned so far, there are many others whose effect is to inhibit human friendship between Jew and Gentile. I shall mention two examples: the rule on libation wine and that on preparing food for a Gentile on Jewish holidays. A religious Jew must not drink any wine in whose preparation a Gentile had any part whatsoever. Wine in an open bottle, even if prepared wholly by Jews, becomes banned if a Gentile so much as touches the bottle or passes a hand over it. The reason given by the rabbi is that all Gentiles are not only idolaters, but must be presumed to be malicious to boot, so that they are likely to dedicate, by a whisper, gesture, or thought, as libation to their idol, any wine which a Jew is about to drink. This law applies in full force to all Christians, and in a slightly attenuated form also to Muslims. An open bottle of wine touched by a Christian must be poured away, but if touched by a Muslim, it can be sold or given away, although it may not be drunk by a Jew. The law applies equally to Gentile atheists. How can one be sure that they are not merely pretending to be atheists, but not to Jewish atheists? The laws against doing work on the Sabbath apply to a lesser extent on other holidays, in particular on a holiday which does not happen to fall on a Saturday. It is permitted to do any work required for preparing food to be eaten during the holidays or days. Legally, this is defined as preparing a soul's food, ochel nefesh. But soul is interpreted to mean Jew, and Gentiles and dogs are explicitly excluded. Note: Talmud Tractate Beitza, page 21a-b. Mishnah Berura on Shulchan Aruch, Orach Hayim 512. Another commentary, Magen Avraham, also excludes Karaites. End of note. There is, however, a dispensation in favor of powerful Gentiles whose hostility can be dangerous. It is permitted to cook food on a holiday for a visitor belonging to this category, provided he is not actively encouraged to come and eat. An important effect among these laws, quite apart from their application in practice, is in the attitude created by their constant study, which, as part of the study of the halakha, is regarded by classical Judaism as a supreme religious duty. Thus, an Orthodox Jew learns from his earliest youth, as part of his sacred studies, that Gentiles are compared to dogs, that it is a sin to praise them, and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, in this respect, textbooks for beginners have a worse effect than the Talmud and the great Talmudic codes. One reason for this is that such elementary texts give more detailed explanations, phrased so as to influence young and uneducated minds. Out of a large number of such texts, I have chosen the one which is currently most popular in Israel and has been reprinted in many cheap editions, heavily subsidized by the Israeli government. It is the Book of Education, written by an anonymous rabbi in early 14th century Spain. It explains the 613 religious obligations, mitzvot, of Judaism in the order in which they are supposed to be found in the Pentateuch, according to the Talmudic interpretation discussed in chapter 3. It owes its lasting influence and popularity to the clear and easy Hebrew style in which it is written. A central didactic aim of this book is to emphasize the correct meaning of the Bible with respect to such terms as fellow, friend, or man, which we have referred to in chapter 3. Thus, paragraph 219, devoted to the religious obligation arising from the verse, "Thou shalt love thy fellow as thyself," is entitled "A Religious Obligation to Love Jews," and explains, quote, "To love every Jew strongly means that we should care for a Jew and his money just as one cares for oneself and one's own money, for it is written, 'Thou shalt love thy fellow as thyself,' and our sages of blessed memory said, 'What is hateful to you, do not do to your friend.' And many other religious obligations follow from this, because one who loves one's friend as oneself will not steal his money or commit adultery with his wife or defraud him of his money, or deceive him verbally, or steal his land, or harm him in any way. Also, many other religious obligations depend on this, as is known to any reasonable man." In paragraph 322, dealing with the duty to keep a Gentile slave enslaved forever, whereas a Jewish slave must be set free after 7 years, the following explanation is given, quote, "And at the root of this religious obligation is the fact that the Jewish people are the best of the human species, created to know their Creator and worship Him, and worthy of having slaves to serve them. And if they will not have slaves of other peoples, they would have to enslave their brothers, who would thus be unable to serve the Lord, blessed be He. Therefore, we are commanded to possess those for our service, after they are prepared for this and after idolatry is removed from their speech, so that there should not be danger in our houses. And this is the intention of the verse, 'But over your brethren, the children of Israel, ye shall not rule one over another with rigor, so that you will not have to enslave your brothers who are ready to worship God.'" Note: according to the halacha, a Gentile slave bought by a Jew should be converted to Judaism, but does not thereby become a proper Jew. And following note, Leviticus chapter 25, verse 46.